Your morning coffee is only doing part of the job it could be doing, and what I'm about to share is something the supplement industry really doesn't like being talked about. In 2023, researchers published findings that honestly should have made front page news, but they didn't. They discovered that when you add one simple powder to your coffee, something that costs around 50 cents, your body's response to blood sugar shifts in a way that surprised even the scientists running the study. We're not talking about some rare exotic supplement from a distant rainforest. This is something incredibly simple and inexpensive. So simple, in fact, that pharmaceutical companies can't patent it or profit from it. And that's a big reason why so few people know about it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 powders that can turn regular coffee into something much more powerful, ranked from helpful to truly game-changing. And here's the surprising part. When researchers tested powder number 1, they had to repeat the experiment 3 separate times because they believed their equipment was malfunctioning. The results were that significant. But before we get into that, I want you to do something. Leave a comment below with your age and where you're watching from. What I'm about to explain can work differently depending on your age, and I want to make sure you're getting the most relevant information for your situation. Now, let's begin with number 5. The one many people think is only for desserts, but research shows it offers much more than that. Number 5. Raw cacao powder. And no, this isn't the sweet chocolate powder you might have mixed into milk as a child. We're talking about raw, minimally processed cacao, which contains more antioxidants than almost any food on Earth. Here's why this matters for your coffee. When researchers at Cornell University looked at what happens when cacao is combined with coffee, they found something unexpected. The natural compounds in cacao actually influence how your body handles caffeine. Instead of the typical spike followed by a crash that you get from coffee alone, you experience what scientists describe as a more sustained energy curve. This means steady, focused energy that can last between 6 to 8 hours, rather than the usual 2 to 3 hour boost, followed by that familiar afternoon slump where you feel like you need another cup just to keep going. And when it comes to antioxidants, raw cacao stands out significantly. It has an ORAC value, this is how antioxidant activity is measured, of roughly 55,000 per 100 grams. In comparison, blueberries sit at about 4,300. The difference is substantial, but it becomes even more interesting. The flavonoids in raw cacao, especially one called epicatechin, are able to cross the blood-brain barrier. This means they can enter brain tissue directly. Once there, they help stimulate the production of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You can think of BDNF as a kind of support system for your brain cells. A study published in Nature Neuroscience found that individuals who consumed around 20 grams of raw cacao daily for 12 weeks showed improved memory test performance and increased blood flow to the hippocampus. That's your brain's memory center. Now here's how to actually apply this. You'll want to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw organic cacao powder to your hot coffee. But, and this part is essential, the water temperature must stay below 170 degrees Celsius. If it's too hot, it can damage the delicate compounds that make this effective. So, brew your coffee, allow it to cool for around 2 minutes, then mix in the cacao. Use a small whisk or a milk frother to blend it well, since it won't dissolve like instant cocoa. The result is a rich, slightly bitter chocolate coffee that honestly tastes great. Be sure you're choosing raw organic cacao that hasn't been Dutch processed or alkalized. Those methods can eliminate up to 90% of the beneficial compounds, meaning you're essentially wasting your money if you pick the wrong type. The suggested daily amount is 15 to 20 grams, which equals about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons. Begin with just 1 teaspoon during the first week to help your body adjust to the theobromine content, the mild stimulant found in cacao. Number 4. Ceylon cinnamon. This is where things start to get more serious, because now we're discussing something that can influence your metabolic health in measurable ways. A 2020 meta-analysis where researchers combined data from several studies reviewed information from over 1,500 individuals with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. When participants consumed around 1 gram of cinnamon daily, roughly half a teaspoon, their fasting blood glucose levels dropped by an average of 10 to 11 milligrams per deciliter. That might not seem dramatic if you're not managing blood sugar, but for someone dealing with diabetes or prediabetes, it's quite meaningful. Some participants also experienced improvements in their hemoglobin A1C, which reflects average blood sugar over a 3-month period. However, here's the key detail that many people miss, and it can actually be risky if ignored. Most cinnamon sold in stores is cassia cinnamon. Cassia contains high levels of a compound called coumarin, which can be harmful to the liver in large amounts. Regularly consuming more than about half a teaspoon of cassia cinnamon daily over time may lead to liver damage. This isn't an exaggeration, it's supported by medical research. Ceylon cinnamon, often referred to as true cinnamon, contains up to 1,200 times less coumarin than cassia. That's why it's considered safer for daily use at therapeutic levels. So how can you tell the difference? Ceylon cinnamon usually comes from Sri Lanka, and the label should clearly state Ceylon or Cinnamomum verum. It has a lighter tan color compared to the darker reddish-brown tone of cassia, and it's more expensive, typically around $8 to $15 for a small container compared to $3 to $5 for cassia. Here's what makes adding it to coffee especially effective. Coffee itself has been linked in multiple studies to a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. A 2024 study analyzing data from 15,000 coffee drinkers found that those who consumed 3 to 5 cups per day had up to a 30% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to non-coffee drinkers. So you're combining two ingredients that independently support metabolic health. The polyphenols in coffee can also improve the bioavailability of cinnamon's active compounds. Researchers observed up to 300% better absorption compared to taking cinnamon supplements alone. So how should you use it correctly? Add 1/4 to half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon powder directly to your coffee grounds before brewing. This allows the hot water to extract compounds that wouldn't fully dissolve if you simply stirred it into brewed coffee. If you're using a French press or pour-over method, this works very well. For drip coffee machines, you can make a cinnamon concentrate by simmering 1 teaspoon in 8 ounces of water for about 10 minutes, then straining it and adding it to your regular coffee. Timing also plays a role. Research suggests that drinking cinnamon coffee 15 to 20 minutes before your first meal helps maximize its blood sugar stabilizing effects. It may reduce your glucose response to breakfast in a noticeable way. One more important warning: if you're taking any medications, especially blood thinners like warfarin or diabetes medications, you should consult your doctor before adding therapeutic amounts of cinnamon to your routine, as it may interact with these drugs. Number 3, lion's mane mushroom powder. This is where we move into an area that may sound almost too good to be true, but the research does support it. In a study published in peer-reviewed journals, Japanese researchers worked with older adults experiencing mild cognitive impairment. They provided lion's mane mushroom powder daily for 16 weeks. The improvements in cognitive function were measurable using standardized tests. However, what truly caught researchers' attention was something more significant. Brain imaging showed changes that suggested regeneration in regions typically impacted by aging. It's important to use careful wording here. The brain is highly complex, and regeneration does not mean the creation of entirely new brain tissue. Instead, what was observed was increased activity and stronger connectivity in areas that usually decline over time. Lion's mane contains compounds known as hericenones and erinacines. These molecules are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier and seem to promote the production of nerve growth factor. This protein plays a key role in supporting the growth and survival of neurons. When lion's mane is added to coffee, the caffeine can boost blood flow to the brain by up to 30%. This increase in circulation may help improve the absorption of these neurotrophic compounds, creating what researchers describe as a neuroplasticity window. This is a state in which the brain becomes more open to forming new neural connections. A study conducted in Malaysia reported that compounds in lion's mane may also stimulate the production of myelin, the protective layer surrounding nerves. Myelin naturally breaks down with age, which can lead to slower thinking and weaker memory. Participants who used lion's mane for 6 months showed measurable improvements in nerve function. Now, it's important to consider a reality check. A 2025 systematic review of human clinical trials found mixed outcomes. Some studies reported cognitive benefits, while others found no meaningful effect. The quality of the lion's mane extract plays a major role. Dosage is also important, as is the duration of use. This is not a quick solution that will instantly boost intelligence. However, early evidence points to potential benefits for maintaining brain health over time, especially when used consistently for several months. The method of preparation also matters. It is recommended to use dual-extracted lion's mane powder. This means it has been processed using both hot water and alcohol to obtain both water-soluble and fat-soluble compounds. Regular dried mushroom powder may provide only about 10% of the active components. Add 1 to 2 teaspoons of dual-extracted lion's mane powder to your coffee after brewing once it has cooled to around 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Higher temperatures may damage some of the sensitive compounds. The powder has a mildly sweet and savory taste. Many people describe the flavor as similar to umami, which actually balances coffee's natural bitterness. Some individuals even prefer it over regular coffee after adjusting to the taste. For potential cognitive benefits, studies recommend consuming lion's mane coffee in the morning on an empty stomach. Effects typically peak around 90 minutes after ingestion. Clinical trials suggest an optimal daily dose of 2 to 3 grams of extract, roughly equivalent to 1 to 1.5 teaspoons. Most users notice improved mental clarity within 7 to 14 days, although significant results usually appear after 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use. The quality of the product is extremely important. Look for organic lion's mane powder that specifies at least 30% polysaccharides and 15% beta-glucans, which are the key active compounds. Avoid products that do not list their extraction method or compound percentages. Some individuals may experience an initial adjustment period during the first week. This can include mild feelings of spaciness or vivid dreams as the brain adapts. Typically, these effects pass quickly. Number 2. Creatine monohydrate. And if you thought, isn't that just for bodybuilders? Prepare to rethink that assumption. Research provides some surprising insights. A study conducted at the University of Sydney gave vegetarians 5 grams of creatine daily for 6 weeks, not to build muscle, but to support brain function. The findings showed improvements in working memory and measurable cognitive performance. These results were meaningful but modest, rather than dramatic. Importantly, creatine supplementation was especially beneficial for individuals whose diets were low in creatine. Despite making up only 2% of body weight, the brain consumes 20% of the body's total energy. Creatine serves as a rapid energy source for neurons, helping them fire efficiently, think clearly, and form memories. Combining creatine with coffee produces an interesting effect. Caffeine increases cerebral blood flow, potentially enhancing creatine absorption into brain tissue, while creatine helps maintain steady ATP levels, your cell's energy molecule, potentially reducing the energy crashes sometimes associated with caffeine alone. A 10-year observational study of adults over 60 found a correlation between higher creatine intake and various health markers. While correlation does not imply causation, the data suggested that individuals with higher creatine levels preserved better cognitive function with age. The underlying science is robust. Creatine acts as a cellular buffer, quickly replenishing ATP and protecting brain cells from oxidative stress. it may also support mitochondrial function in neurons, which are essentially the power plants of your brain cells. Additionally, many people are unaware that creatine supplementation has been studied for mood support. Research indicates it may enhance emotional resilience, particularly when brain energy metabolism is compromised. This effect seems to be linked to increased mitochondrial energy in brain cells. Now, let's discuss the practical ways to use creatine for cognitive benefits. Creatine monohydrate doesn't dissolve easily in liquids. For best results, stir it into hot coffee, where it mixes better than in cold drinks. Add 5 grams, roughly 1 level teaspoon, to your morning coffee. A pro tip: include a splash of milk or cream. The fat may improve absorption and helps mask the slightly gritty texture. Unlike some supplements, creatine doesn't deliver instant effects. It works through saturation. Daily use for 3 to 4 weeks is needed to fully saturate your muscle and brain tissue. After that, you maintain those levels with consistent dosing. Most users report improved mental endurance and reduced brain fog within 7 to 10 days, with full benefits appearing after 3 to 4 weeks. Some people try a loading phase of 20 grams per day, split into 4 doses, during the first week to saturate faster. Research shows this isn't necessary and can cause temporary water retention or digestive discomfort. A simple 5 grams daily is effective from the start. Quality is crucial. Look for CreaPure, a German-made creatine monohydrate tested for purity. Lower quality versions may contain contaminants that trigger stomach upset or headaches. An important note: expect a 2 to 4 pound gain in the first 2 weeks. This isn't fat. Creatine pulls water into muscle cells, enhancing cellular hydration and function. Creatine's safety profile is well established. Studies following people who took it daily for years show no adverse effects on kidney function in healthy individuals. If you have existing kidney disease, consult your doctor first. Now let's talk about a powder that may actually extend your lifespan. The research is remarkable: glycine powder. This is where everything we've discussed connects. Glycine might be the most valuable addition to your morning coffee. Scientists studying aging discovered that glycine supplementation in older adults improved multiple biomarkers of aging. Sleep quality increased, inflammation markers dropped, and cells showed better function. Glycine is the smallest amino acid, small enough to reach nearly every tissue in your body. While your body produces some glycine, research indicates most people are deficient compared to our ancestors, who consumed more through nose-to-tail eating, bone broths, organ meats, and collagen-rich cuts. Adding glycine to your morning coffee supplies your body with a key building block for over 100 critical processes. It helps build glutathione, your master antioxidant, supports natural creatine production, and triggers autophagy, the process where cells clear damaged proteins and regenerate. An 8-year observational study in Japan found adults with higher glycine intake had better health outcomes. Researchers suggested that optimal glycine consumption may support health span. Mechanistically, glycine activates specific receptors throughout the body, triggering multiple benefits. It supports mitochondrial function, enhances DNA maintenance through methylation, and helps maintain healthy growth hormone levels. Harvard Medical School research found glycine improved vascular function, increasing arterial flexibility after 12 weeks, an indicator of cardiovascular health. Glycine in morning coffee is unique. It provides calm mental clarity without sedation. It activates brain receptors to improve focus and learning while reducing anxiety and caffeine jitters. A Sleep Research Society study found 3 grams of glycine before bed improved sleep quality, increasing deep restorative sleep and leaving participants feeling refreshed. Glycine also supports collagen production, making up about 33% of collagen. Supplementation improves skin elasticity and joint flexibility, which naturally decline with age. For coffee, add 3 to 5 grams of glycine powder, about 1 teaspoon. It dissolves completely and instantly. Interestingly, glycine is naturally sweet, adding subtle sweetness without sugar or calories. Timing matters. Take 3 to 5 grams in the morning for energy and mental clarity. Many also take another 5 grams in the evening in decaf coffee or tea for sleep and recovery. Glycine's effects vary based on timing and your circadian rhythm. Quality is straightforward. Choose pure glycine powder, pharmaceutical grade or USP tested, free of fillers, flavors, or additional amino acids. Start with 3 grams for the first week to gauge tolerance. Glycine is very safe. Studies have used up to 60 grams daily without adverse effects. For ongoing benefits, 10 grams daily, split between morning and evening, is effective. Most people notice better sleep within 3 days, improved skin and reduced joint discomfort within 2 weeks, and enhanced recovery, mental clarity, and energy after 4 to 6 weeks. Combining glycine with coffee is particularly powerful. Coffee itself is linked to longevity, and glycine enhances these benefits while reducing caffeine-related downsides like anxiety and sleep disruption. University of California research found glycine plus coffee increases fat burning and muscle protein synthesis, optimizing energy production and tissue repair. Your morning coffee can now transform into a health-enhancing ritual. 5 scientifically backed powders can support brain health, blood sugar, longevity, and metabolic function. Begin with 1 powder: cinnamon for blood sugar, glycine for broad benefits, lion's mane for brain health, or combine them as your body adapts. Interestingly, combining powders may create synergies beyond their individual effects. Early research suggests benefits exceed the sum of their parts. I want to hear from you. Have you tried any of these powders in coffee? What worked or didn't? Comment below with your experience. If this changed how you view your morning routine, subscribe. Next week, I'll reveal a morning ritual combining coffee, specific foods, and timing strategies that optimize metabolic health for people over 50. Based on a 2024 study tracking thousands, it shows one morning pattern linked to significantly better health, likely opposite of what you've been told about breakfast. That video drops next day, so subscribe to catch it. Until then, optimize your coffee. Your body will thank you.